You know, in my Virgin Fleet review, I made a joke about trying to apologize to NGE. But now, I honestly think I really do owe it an apology. NGE, I'm very sorry. That is to say, I still think you are overblown, and you lack the thematic finesse to pull off some of the more, shall we say, memorable moments of symbolism.
The fruit of life is held by the angels. The fruit of wisdom is held by man. EVA Unit 1 now possesses them both, and therefore becomes God.
But at least you had character consistency. They were consistently annoying, but consistent nonetheless. At least you had an end goal, even if it did devolve into navel-gazing. Wait! God damn it. I'm sorry again. I don't want to sound like I'm being backhanded. I really and sincerely want to apologize. I was too mean to you in my review, and that amount of bombastic negativity was unfounded, and it only served to make me sound ignorant, okay? Basically, what I'm trying to say is that at least you weren't fucking Aeon Flux! Holy shit, does Aeon Flux suck the biggest log right out of the quivering asshole of pretension. Aeon Flux is, bar none, the most up-its-own-ass piece of fucking shit I have ever seen, and I rue the day I ever come across another that's worse. I don't want to be this guy, people, alright? But you have to understand me, and no joke, right? No joke. Aeon Flux is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life, purely on the basis of how much I do not want to see it again. It's just pain. And I can already hear the legions of Peter Chung fanboys already typing their messages saying that I don't get it and then I'm stupid. Oh, I get it. Believe me, I get it. And it's because that I get it is why I hate it so much. I don't hate from ignorance, people. My hate is sharp, honed, and well-informed. The better to cut the subject, you see. Peter, you're Hulk Hogan, and I am the Iron Sheik. And this review is me putting you into the camel clutch, breaking your back, and making you humble. I suppose if a review of Aeon Flux must start somewhere, it must start with the channel that is only a shadow of its former self, MTV. Specifically, a television show that practically defined Generation X, for better and for worse. Liquid Television.
Oh my god. Real surf dudes.
Yeah, totally.
Hey, you girls are like seriously not into catching some rays, are you?
A show dedicated to animated shorts, Liquid Television was THE show for stoners and nerds alike. There was nothing on television that was this routinely surreal and creative. This was the launching platform for many a creative mind, the most recognizable easily being Mike Judge. Yes, Beavis and Butthead got its start as a short segment on Liquid Television.
Frog baseball! Get him!
Again, stoners and nerds. Although the show was a veritable petri dish of creative ids run rampant, strangely missing was anything anime related. The only anime I know of that was shown was a title that is very near and dear to myself. Some of my longtime viewers may know of my continuous referencing of a little anime called The Running Man. Well, The Running Man was shown on Liquid Television during its second season. And that, my friends, was the very first anime I ever watched. So there was no better home for Aeon Flux than on Liquid Television, and 5 shorts were made and premiered on the block. The shorts, I feel, is the best way to experience Aeon Flux. It's pure experimental animation, made to be ingested quickly and to be enjoyed momentarily. The shorts still stand on their own, in my opinion, because they never tried to be anything more than what they were. Every short involves the eponymous Aeon Flux on some kind of mission in a futuristic world of strange gadgets, flora and fauna, and she's usually at odds with Trevor Goodchild, her sometimes enemy and sometimes lover. What separated the show, besides the animation and creative design, was the fact that the shorts were completely devoid of dialogue, save for one line uttered by Aeon. Plop. This choice in silence actually works for the short's favor, as it forces the audience to focus on the actions of the characters, rather than what they say. This is important because it's usually Aeon's actions that cause her downfall. Yes, in every short, Aeon is killed, either by her own incompetence or by a cruel twist of fate. These shorts, I feel, are the perfect home for the kinds of stories that Peter Chung wanted to tell. They get the idea across, they leave a lasting impression, and off they go. Clean, clear-cut, and neat. Then, they made a series, and that's when somebody shat in the apple pie. Gone are the effortless, instantly gratifying stories, and in its stead we have...
Ready for the action now, Danger Boy? Ready if I'm ready for you, Danger Boy.
Ready if I want it now, Danger Boy.
This. Trying to dissect Aeon Flux is like trying to cut through a mile-wide onion. No, not because of its layers, but because there's going to be a lot of tears involved. Oh God. I don't even know where to start. The plot? Is there even one?
Okay, stop.
Oh. Kyle. Lovely to see you. Again.
Work on the sarcasm. I'm not a fan of these interruptions any more than you are, but this continued analysis is forcing my hand, so to speak.
What? You're a fan of Aeon Flux?
Whether or not I'm a fan is beside the point. I'm calling bullshit.
Bullshit.
First you talk about post-war Japan in your Jinro review, then you talk about Christian iconography in the Evangelion review, and now you're going to talk about the Gnostic faith like you didn't just read it on Wikipedia? Bullshit!
Look, I get where you're coming from, but what would you have me do? Not research it?
It's the fucking arrogance I can't stand, okay? There's no way you can just offhandedly know everything about everything.
Alright, Kyle, listen. If you allow me to say my piece about Aeon Flux, then I will let you say whatever the hell you want on my show. It could be about me, it could be about the show, whatever. Agreed?
Fine. Go ahead.
Thank you. The series sort of follows the shorts in that each episode is its own contained story, but with the addition of dialogue. Aeon is still an agent for the nation of Monica, and Trevor is the chairman and leader of Bregna. Monica and Bregna are two warring factions, although what they are warring about seems to shift with the breeze. The central conflict, the axis by which these two main characters revolve around, and we know next to nothing about it. Hell, I've seen better explained animosity in Spy vs. Spy. From episode to episode, the reason why Aeon is sent after Trevor to thwart his plans don't seem to add up to any end goal. It just seems to be that Aeon is meant to be the fly in Trevor's ointment. Wait. Fly in his ointment. I get it now. And it pisses me off. Some of the plans that Aeon winds up involved in have next to nothing to do with Monica at all. It just seems to me that Monica would have better things to worry about than Trevor keeping a winged pair of humans in his personal zoo. Then again, the plot is supposed to take a backseat to theme, and Aeon Flux is certainly not short of that. Nearly every episode of the series revolves around the duality in relationship between men and women. Characters are either in love, or fall in love, or fall out of love, all portrayed through the lens of sex and fetishism.
Oh! Oh!
This is only a facet of the show's fascination with Gnostic faith. What's Gnosticism, I hear you ask? In a nutshell, Gnosticism is the belief that one attains enlightenment and understanding by shunning the material world created by a being known as the Demiurge. By shunning the material world and embracing philanthropy and extreme altruism, one can embrace the spiritual world or the non-material world. Though it was commonly believed that Gnosticism predated Christianity, the earliest recorded accounts date to the 2nd century, when Saint Irenaeus became the first one to coin the term Gnostic, deriving from the Greek gnostikos, which means learned, to describe what he called heresy. Specifically, Irenaeus was talking about Valentinianism, a sect of Gnosticism that Aeon Flux was heavily influenced by. And this is where the show falters. I'll admit that my knowledge of Gnosticism is cursory at best, but what the show does with its Gnostic influence doesn't stretch beyond elementary symbolism. At best, what they took from Gnostic belief doesn't add much to the show's thematic weight, and at worst, the show just plain doesn't get it. One of the more on-the-nose bits of influence comes from the main character's name herself, Aeon. Eons are what are known as emanations of God. Depending on the sect of Gnosticism, eons play a varying role in Gnostic faith. The show seems to favor Valentinianism, and the notion that eons are sexually compatible with each other and form couples, or syzygies. Which is weird, because syzygy is the alignment of 3 celestial objects in a gravitational system, not 2, and I'm getting off topic, back to how much Aeon Flux sucks. With this in mind, it's no wonder that one of the main focuses of the show is Aeon and Trevor's complicated relationship. Both are attracted and repulsed by each other, both on an ideal level and a biological level. Ugh, God. Why is this show considered beautiful again? But the show's adherence to Gnostic influence falls apart once it enters the plot. One of the more memorable episodes casts Aeon and Trevor fighting over the actual Demiurge. Trevor wants to study it, Aeon and Harmonican people want to blast it off into space. The conflict seems to be that Aeon knows that the Demiurge will only lead people down the wrong path, as holds the tenets of Gnosticism. And Trevor seems to believe that the Demiurge is the only way to know how to finally see.
I bid my people follow, and like all good equations, they follow. For full endowment of purpose, they do submit. In turn, they resign me to a role inhuman, impossible, and unaccountable. But I can no longer stand the sleepless nights. I think I am learning to love the Demiurge.
So we have a foothold in what these characters are supposed to represent. But then that's thrown out the window in another episode. Trevor starts implanting his people with what he calls a conscience, and forces his people to act on goodwill to the most extreme degree, including forcing an otherwise despicable man to amputate his own arm to give it to a disabled child.
I'll never forget you. I love you. You're what it's all about.
True, this is a villainous thing to do, and Trevor is supposed to be the villain, but what he is essentially doing is forcing a core belief of Gnosticism onto his people, and the show is framing this as a bad thing. Is Trevor supposed to be on the side of Gnosticism or not? Did Peter Chung just read the Cliff Notes of Gnosticism and just made a show about it? And while we're asking questions that will never be answered, what in the hell is this? This inconsistency is exacerbated by the fact that none of the episodes carry into one another. Hell, there was an episode where Aeon was left to essentially die in paralytic fluid, the episode ends, And then bam, the next episode happens with no explanation of how she got out of there, as if it never happened in the first place. You might be inclined to think that maybe the show was supposed to follow the series and that each episode was its own encapsulated story, but that's not true. In one episode, Aeon has flashbacks to previous moments in the series, so there has to be a continuity for this to happen. Does not make sense! And even if these episodes were supposed to have a continuity, that still wouldn't help the fact that the plots themselves are 12 kinds of stupid! Like the shorts, the series relies heavily on circumstance and convenience, but whereas in the shorts, these are little quirks that lend some humor to the proceedings, in the show they're just contrived and eye-rolling. A murderer sets up a time bomb on a train that doesn't go off until the third act, when it kills a tertiary character that has to be taken out of the plot. Aeon witnesses one of her comrades being cloned for some nefarious purpose, immediately comes up with a plan to sneak into Trevor's fortress that involves tricking Trevor into cloning her, and then hoping against hope that her clone has all her memories, is down for this instant plan that she couldn't have thought about for more than 20 seconds, and is able to meet back up with her in a convenient secret underwater aqueduct so they can switch places, and God, this is stupid! Oh God, that felt good. Well, Kyle, anything to add? By now, I hope you can see why Aeon Flux is on my shit list. Yes, I understand that the show is unique, and I can understand people liking the show for its creative aesthetics, and I would never dream of taking that enjoyment away from them. But, as a story, Aeon Flux shits enough beds for 20 geriatric wards. It's pretentious, aimless, and infuriatingly smug. Such a show deserves a proper send-off. And I know just how to do it. Next time, Toonami Month in greener pastures. Till next time.
What are you gonna do, research? How dare you do research? Internet reviews aren't research-based. Research is for smarty-type people. We is not smarty-types. Sorry.